So those are the men that Australia put their faith in for the Ashes decider. It's 1-1 in the series. The decider comes from Lang Park in Brisbane with Mike Stevenson and Eddie Hemmings after the break.
Decider and Mike Stevenson, you can cut this atmosphere with a knife.
Yes, it's spine-tingling stuff, isn't it? And all the 26 players out there, including the referee, they know this is the hotbed of World Rugby League. International Rugby League is on the line. Let's hope it's Great Britain who win it.
Mal Meninga then gets this test match underway, without doubt the most important in 22 years. A big chance for Great Britain to bring those Ashes home. They need a big start. They need a disciplined start. And Kelvin Skerrett is being pushed back by the combined weight of Harrigan, Clyde and Sironen. It's going to be rough and tough out there in the early encounters. Here's McGinty, one of the stars of Melbourne.
The early key is going to be discipline. The swinging arm, the pressure, the knock-on, the mistakes. They've got to keep them down.
Tester for Ettinghausen. He connects it cleanly this time. The British wall has moved up. McGinty wrestles Ettinghausen to the floor. Langa's the dummy half. This now is Clyde. Good tackling Britain, Newlove and Sean Edwards. This now Harrigan, wearing a head guard tonight, saying in the papers over here that he was going to wear a head guard because of all the high tackles he'd been receiving at Melbourne. Paul Sironen thundered to the floor too. Dennis Hale marching Britain well back from the play the ball. Langa, now Daly. He clips one downfield. A bit too much power behind that, I fancy. And Graham Stedman wants it to run dead, but it doesn't. It holds up on the turn. That's good play from Stedman, though. Wonderful run from the fullback. That'll do his confidence a power of good. He waited. It didn't roll dead.
The most important thing that he kept calm, didn't he? A lot of other players would have opted for the kick out, which would have meant a dropout. What a great start that is for the British boys.
Dennis Betts trying to get to his feet. Harrigan not letting him now. Edwards. Edwards finds Skerrett. Skerrett is immediately tackled. Clyde leading the charge. Lindner coming in strongly too. Andy Platt. It's hot. It's humid. The Britain have prepared for this. I don't think any test side could have been prepared better. As Willie Kahn, local boy, gets his first touch. That's a great tackle from Newlove.
That was a great kick, though, by Stedman. And the chasing game by the British boys was excellent.
Clyde. Little high from Schofield, perhaps. Now Walters from dummy half.
That's an area that the Australian coach Bobby Fulton has been working on all this week. That's running from the dummy half position. They faltered badly in Melbourne in that department.
That's a lovely take from Stedman of Daly's kick downfield. Harrigan is greeting him though. What a welcoming committee that is. Clark now.
Harrigan, of course, being advised by the doctors to wear that helmet, give him a little bit of protection. He's had concussion 3 times in the past 2 months.
Edwards darting, just couldn't get away from the hooker Walters. Dermott in a dummy half. Now here's McGinty again. Whoa, big hit on McGinty from Harrigan. From Lazarus rather, or was it Daly? This is Ettinghausen. Trying to run through a fire.
Once again, there was 4 British chasers.
Now Fittler, one of the changes in this Australian side. Well, downstairs on sideline for us is Kevin Ellis. Kevin, the atmosphere up here is tremendous, as Australia make this break, but good tackling there by Shaun Edwards, stopping Lindner in his tracks. We'll be back with you, or we'll be to you in a moment, after this attack breaks down, Kev. This is Langer now. Let's just stay with the action for the moment. Meninga, long pass from him to Daly. Now Clyde. Australia has players out wide. This is Fittler. Fittler, good tackling by O'Fire and Mueller. It's the last tackle. Daly again. The high midfield bomb. A big test for Steadman. He dropped it. And there's 6 more to go for Australia. Willie Kahn getting to the loose ball first. Walters, the dummy half. Penalty against Shaun Edwards. Bad penalty by the scrum half.
Well, we were talking about discipline being so important in the opening minutes. Here we see the kick that was dropped by Steadman. He had protection there. There really was no pressure on him. Only the hooker, Walters, was anywhere near. And then a rush of blood by Shaun Edwards. You'll see it. The referee opted that he should not have retaliated. A bit harsh in my book.
5 minutes gone then, and Mal Meninga with a chance to give the Australians the sort of start that, in all honesty, Great Britain really wanted. Meninga, the local hero, composing himself. That's the angle he has. And Australia have a 2-point lead. It's the start we prayed that Great Britain might have. The Aussies lead 2-0. Mal Meninga with the penalty. Let's go downstairs now and join Kevin Ellis. Kevin, what's your view from down there?
Oh, the atmosphere down here is unbelievable. I thought Melbourne was a great atmosphere, but down here the crowd is so close to the pitch. It's just unbelievable. And, you know, the boys are fired up on all cylinders tonight, Eddie.
Fired up indeed, but putting themselves under pressure there. And so now they trail by 2 points to 0.
As you mentioned, Eddie, that's not the start that the British boys wanted. Graham Steadman, a bad mistake there. He had all the time in the world. Let's hope he can quickly regain confidence.
Steadman then with the kick-off. Ettinghausen underneath it. This is Suriname. That looked a touch forward. The referee, though, lets it go. Now Harrigan. Britain know they've got to come back here and keep Australia back up the other end of the field.
That was an amazing gamble there by E.T., passing the ball on his own line.
Walters, the dummy half. Langer. Oof, and that was a bit of a wild challenge from McGinty on Langer. It's not Great Britain's happiest hunting ground, this. Only one win in history at Lang Park, 30 years ago, almost to the day. And here goes Michael Hancock, one of the Brisbane Broncos. He, like so many of this Australian side, knows every blade of grass on this Lang Park pitch. Daly fires one downfield. And a fire picks it up 10 metres from his own line. Tries to go away from Willie Kahn. Does well, though, to unload in the tackle to Steadman. But Langer has moved up to close Steadman's options down. Dermott on his own. Use of the elbow there from Lazarus. Both prop forwards, Lazarus and Harrigan, wearing the headgear tonight. Flat.
So important now for Britain to build on this, use their forwards, get into the game, get the feel of things.
The Ashes decider. Australia ahead, 2-0. The kicking game's so important. Steadman, that's a good long kick. That's made Ettinghausen turn back to his own line. And the British wall has moved up to greet him. And they have him. Good chasing Powell. Great work, too, from Clark, who I notice has abandoned his headgear. It must be very, very hot down there.
Humid conditions, but once again they're using the kick to perfection. And the chasing is excellent.
Ball comes free Daly to Newlove. Chances for Britain here with Schofield. Over the top. Oh, he was pulled back surely. Referee said play on. Schofield chipped over the top. He was hauled down. The British captain can't believe it, and frankly, neither can we.
Well, now the ball goes clear. Newlove quick to the action. Schofield, a lovely step. He left Meninga there. You can't tell me that Hannigan didn't take him out. That is unbelievable.
It's the sort of decision that sways matches. Australia with the dropout from underneath their own stick. Stettman is underneath it for the British. Apart from that drop ball, a good start by Stettman. His confidence should have been high, but he dropped the ball. Great Britain then conceded the penalty. Australia have the lead, and Afire has nowhere to go.
That lovely step inside by the skipper Schofield, he really did set up Meninga. He was stranded there. That would have lifted the confidence.
Dermot, the dummy half. Shaun Edwards looking for his Wigan teammate Platt, but deciding in the end to cling on. McGinty now. And penalty Great Britain. Not allowing McGinty to get to his feet. Lazarus, the man pulled out by Dennis Hale. So penalty Great Britain, and Paul Eastwood will surely have a shot at goal.
Well, Lazarus just threw himself all over them, not allowing the player to get up. Good decision there. McGinty was struggling. Maybe that's a bit of a square up by the referee Hale. But that should have been a penalty a couple of seconds before when Schofield kicked through.
So Paul Eastwood, he woke up this morning to headlines suggesting he was a time waster at these kicks at goal. They timed him on the Australian bench, and in Melbourne it was anything between 1 minute 40 odd seconds and 2 minutes 40 odd seconds. Now Dennis Hale holds the clock up though. But it's important that Paul Eastwood takes his time, gets his confidence, and in these conditions, Mike, what's possibly more important than ever, he gives the British boys a bit of a blow.
Well, there's no doubt about it. The Australian coach, Bobby Fulton, is fully aware that the British boys are quite happy to slow the game down and play the British style of football. It's all part of the game.
Time is back on now, and Eastwood will take his time, waste up all the seconds that he possibly can as he composes himself for this vital kick. It's on the right side of the field for the left-footed kicker. It looks like he's brought his kicking boots with him up from Melbourne to Brisbane. Eastwood with the penalty. The score's a level 2-2.
A wonderful kick there, especially for a man that a lot of people said could not kick under pressure. That was a pressure cooker effort.
6 from 7 last week, 1 from 1 tonight. Dennis Betts for Great Britain. This, the 18th series to go to a decider, but the first ever in Brisbane. Australia have won the last 4 deciders, and there's a mistake.
Oh, a sad mistake by the hooker, Dermot. He was concentrating on the job in hand, trying to get it away. It came through his legs.
Sweaty palms, perhaps. Australia in possession. This is Fittler. He can be so dangerous. Can the Penrith Panther. Daly. Now Bradley Clyde. That's good play. Lindner following up. It's the last tackle. Well, the referee had his arm raised. It isn't raised anymore. This is Harrigan. Now Langer. Daly. Australia keeping the ball alive. They're so dangerous when they do this. Meninga back inside to Willie Kahn. And Great Britain simply close him down. Well, it wasn't the last tackle. Daly. Here's Walters. Great Britain swarming around the man in possession. Closing his options down. Daly, long pass to Langer. Langer chips it through. Chase on here between Edwards and Lindner, and Edwards just hacks it dead. And Edwards breathes a big sigh of relief.
Well, it seemed like an eternity. Alan Langer a beautiful chip through here. The British boys did the right thing. They both went for the football. And Linda was there, but so was Edwards. It seemed like eternity before the Wigan halfback got there first.
Alan Langer with that little chip ahead. Local boys, top goal for Queensland. Won the State of Origin match here. 5-4 as Sironen charges downfield. Clyde wheels away. But Betts in the end has him. McGinty downstairs. Ball's broken free off Harrigan. It's a weak link that Britain exposed in Melbourne.
Well, a switch inside. Harrigan there. Betts came at him hard. The ball lodged free. A lot of tension, a lot of nerves.
It's 2-2, and we've had 15 minutes of this series decider at Lang Park, Brisbane. Steadman, the dummy half. This now Clark. Good tackling. Great tackling. There is Malcolm Reilly, the British coach, and Maurice Lindsay, the manager. Oh, mistake. A mistake from Platt, of all people. Gives the ball to Sironen. Sironen runs straight back down that channel, and Dermot has to wrestle him to the floor. Langer. Daly. Meninga. Good ball inside to Ettinghausen. And Sean Edwards just had hold of Ettinghausen's shirt tails. Here's Lazarus.
The Australian tactics is to keep the ball out wide. They've learned from Melbourne. There was no way down that middle.
Now Harrigan.
They're opting for the long ball out wide, the link.
Langer. Bradley Clyde. Great Britain defending stoutly. Willie Kahn is screaming for the ball to be brought this way. It comes this way now with Langer, and now Daly. Little chip over the top from Daly, and he has given a penalty. Well, I was going to say Daly missed that for all it's worth. Daly chipped ahead, was brought down, a penalty.
Well, Langer a long ball out to the 5'8" Daly. He chips through here. Well, I don't know where he got that one from. I'm not the best fan of the merry whistleblowers. But where that one came from, Mr. Hale, has me totally confused.
Laurie Daly's doing the kicking. Perhaps that's a change that Bob Fulton has decided to employ in this third and final test. It's paid off on that occasion. Although I must say, Daly didn't look to me, Mike, as though he was touched at all.
Well, it may have been just a hint of a trip, but there was no movement of the leg. Daly made the meal of it.
So Meninga has this from right in front. And he makes no mistake. Australians back in the lead. 17 and a half minutes of this first half gone. Australia 4, Great Britain 2. Let's go downstairs and hear from Kevin Ellis again. Kevin?
That's right, Eddie. There's a lot of mistakes coming from our boys down here, you know, just simple mistakes, just not concentrating. And there's a few harsh decisions. The British bench is not happy about them.
There are harsh decisions. That perhaps the harshest of them all. Daly, the penalty given to him. Australia with that lead then, 4-2. Britain had to come back, and they have to come back again. But only just a hint of daylight between the two sides. Nothing to get worked up about yet. Walters. A good run from Fittler. Good tackling from Great Britain. The intensity, Mike, of Test match football, quite incredible.
No doubt about it. It's rough, it's tough. But Australia seem to be getting into their game plan a lot quicker.
Harrigan. Oh, that's great play from the big man. Good tackle from O'Fire. Knock on. Yes, referee spots that one. O'Fire straight into the back of Harrigan. The ball came free.
Good tackle there by O'Fire. The man they say can't tackle. Well, that really was a good effort. Dislodged the ball free.
Edwards gets it back from the scrum. Schofield. He finds the tall figure of Newlove. Britain must must just simply slow this game down. The humidity is bound to take its toll as this match progresses. Newlove, Edwards, now Dennis Betts. Reverse pass for McGinty. McGinty will run strongly all night.
That's a key factor. Do not panic. Do the hard work. Earn the yardage. Get into that position, and then the skills can be produced.
Edwards. It'll jinking run through the gap from Edwards. Oh, he was just hauled down, and it was Silleran who got him round the ankles.
Skerritt was driving through.
This is Steadman. Steadman still. Last tackle. Betts the dummy half. Edwards now. He angles it down this left-hand touchline. Martin Offiah is closing up. They've got Ebbinghausen in a bit of trouble here. Ebbinghausen is hauled down behind his own line. That's great finish chasing. Donald Powell, the man who brought him down. It was Willie Kahn.
Oh, wonderful play. It was a planned move. Edwards knew that Offiah had come in for this kick and chase. There he is. Puts the pressure. And Willie Kahn, what a great tackle by Powell. Ball and all, dragged into the in-goal area.
Well, now the Australians take their time. They're in no hurry. We're midway through this first half. It's 4 points Australia, 2 Great Britain. Steadman has it for the British. More pressure from Skerritt.
Watch for the planned move coming up soon.
Penalty. They're not letting Skerritt get to his feet. Penalty, says Dennis Hale. No complaints about this one.
Well, Bob Lindner all over him. You see him there, not allowing the man to roll away and play the ball.
So Eastwood again then with another pressure kick. That's the 22-metre line. He's bang on it, and that's the angle he has. Not the best angle for the left-footed kicker, but he slotted them over so confidently at Melbourne. He got off to the best possible start here at Brisbane, and the British supporters are hoping that this will be the moment for 2 out of 2 from the Hull winger. And Dennis Hale wants the 2 Australian trainers to leave the field, the water bottle carriers. The face painters below the stands here have done roaring trade. This now, Eastwood. The Queensland crowd barracking him, trying to put him off. Eastwood won't be rushed. Edwards scored. It is good. The test match is all square again. It's level at 4 points all.
Wonderful kick there. Eastwood saying to the referee, Dennis Hale, that the Australians were shouting at him whilst he was running in to take the kick. It's against the law. And also the Australians tried that old Murphy. They send on the trainers just as the player is lining up the ball, trying to distract his attention. It didn't work. Good refereeing.
Britain then inside their own 22 with Clark. Unusual to see the Wigan loose forward without that head guard. Gives him so much confidence, but there's a mistake from Schofield. Hancock has it back for the Australians. Schofield dropped it in his own quarter.
Took his eyes off the ball. He was more intent on trying to get the ball out wide. Nerves are still out there. And as you can see...
Well, how many's that? I'll make that about 3 from the big man.
Well, you could plainly see that Harrigan was looking towards the tacklers which were coming towards him. He knows he's in for a good reception every time he takes it up.
Edwards just about gets the possession from the scrum. Lindner had come out very, very quickly. Now Betts. Paul Brooks again. Eastwood gets a toe to it, hacks it downfield. Great Britain must cut these mistakes at if possible. He's given the knock-on back on the quarter line.
And correct in doing so. It was no advantage for the Australian side. The tackle there just shook the ball away. That was the intensity of it.
Meninga breaking through, charging down the middle, the Australian captain. This is a testing moment for Great Britain. Hitler on the charge now. Ball comes out. Little knock on there, was there, from Ettinghausen? Yes. It's tense. It's tough. Oh, it's rough.
A sigh of relief around the ground by all the English fans, should I say, and in this commentary box.
Good tackle, Daly on Schofield. That's one of the key areas. The British captain against Laurie Daly. 2 stand-off halves. So many key areas, though, Mike. You could pick out any of them, really.
Well, it's just a matter of trying to keep that composure. Both sides, they really are fired up. They're forgetting the match plan. They've got to just take their time.
All square at 4-all. We said the first half hour would be vital, and so it has proved to be. 2 penalties apiece. Meninga with 2, Eastwood replying with 2. Where will the first try come from as Ettinghausen gets underneath his opposite number, Stetman's kick downfield, and then is met by Skerritt and finished off by McGinty. Clyde. Oh, Clyde hammered into Edwards then, knocked him off his feet. McGinty clung on, hits his Walters. Great Britain having to swarm all over the man in possession. The Australians ominously making ground from the play, the ball every time. Hitler. Now Langer running from dummy half on his own. Another chip through from Langer. He was taken out. Referee agrees. Penalty Australia.
Langer worked for that one. Kicked through. No doubt about it. He was charged through. Skerritt is being spoken to by the referee. You don't have to move at the kick, but Skerritt did move. It made it look obvious. The referee, Dennis Hale, no option but to give that penalty. It's turning out to be like a game of chess. So much tension.
Indeed so. So much resting on this. The 1992 Ashes series. Deadlocked at the moment. This, the big man's 36th test. His club is Canberra. He's a hero in this part of the world, though. And the Australian captain, with the kicking responsibilities, has not failed yet. Harry Schofield looks a bit stern. That's the Australian section of this crowd, and that's the angle that Meninga has. Didn't kick terribly well on the Kangaroo Tour in 1990. He's composing himself. He's taking as long as Eastwood. The flags go up, and the Australians are back in front again. 6 points to 4.
And the relief shows on the face of the Australian skipper. As you mentioned, he also was taking a lot of time. It was interesting to see that passage of play that Australia brought it upfield. They quickly played the ball, and we allowed them to get on with the game very quickly.
Al Meninga, this is his 14th match against Great Britain. He equals Keith Holman's record. He scored 2 tries in Sydney in that first test. He really was the thorn in the British side, and he has scored all 6 points with the right boot so far tonight. Daly, now Hancock. Powell stood his ground, and Clark finished him off. And the ball goes out. That's good play.
And it touched an Australian. Will the referee give Britain the feed? There's a replay.
Well, he hasn't. He's given the feed Australia's way. But now I think the touch judge has come on, has he?
Well, it was clear that the touch judge was holding both hands up, indicating that the ball had actually come up an Australian player.
And the touch judge has come on. I think he's given it Britain's way. He has. Britain's speed. Edwards gets it. Now Schofield. Powell is there. So too Newlock. Newlock on the charge. Schofield in support. Oh, it was a forward pass. Oh, so close for Gary Schofield. Play pull back for the forward pass. Schofield was in. He was under the post.
No doubt about it. Newlock kept the ball alive. Only fractional. But the referee was in a good position.
Couldn't tell from this angle. Referee was right on the spot. He was sure. But Britain so close. Clyde for the Australians. Man of the match in Sydney, Bradley Clyde. Penalty Australia. Referee did not like that challenge on Lazarus.
He'll have a word with McGinty for this. There it is. It was pretty high. A little bit of lack of discipline again. This has lost them valuable ground.
10 minutes of this first half remain. Australia 6, Great Britain 4. Britain have never had the lead here in Brisbane tonight. They've had to come from behind. They still are having to come from behind, but only 2 points. Let's not panic. Penalties 4-2 in Australia's favour.
The message has to go out now by coach Malcolm Rayleigh. Keep cool, boys. Don't be sucked into it. There's a lot of sledging, a lot of talking out there. Keep calm.
Walters is the dummy half. It's now with Clyde. He tries to leap out of the way of the challenge from Andy Platt, but he couldn't. Here's Lindner. Great Britain's forward standing up to the test well so far. Langer, they've come down this near touchline. Steadman has to tap it dead. He heard the thundering hooves of Willie Kahn in his ear behind him. Meninga wasn't too far away either. And Steadman content.
Lovely kick here by Langer. He's playing a key part in this first half. Steadman did well here. Once again, keeping his cool. Kahn realising no chance there.
6-4 to Australia. 31 minutes, almost 32 minutes on my watch gone. Steadman is taking his time to restart this match with the dropout underneath the posts. Needs height, needs length. Goes to Meninga. The ball went backwards. Play on, says the referee. Kahn, the dummy half. Good tackling, Great Britain. Walters again. Now Langer. Ettinghausen dropped it. Well, Ettinghausen and Harrigan, the two main culprits in Melbourne, said they wanted to make amends here tonight. So far, thankfully, they're not doing so.
Even the top players do this, and this is all coming about by the players looking at the defenders coming at them. Pretty ferocious.
Schofield now. Gary Schofield, one of the British party to be suffering food poisoning this week. Assured us he was fit this morning. Great Britain in possession then with Newlock. Now Schofield again. Edwards. Good run from Clark. And that's McGinty. He felt the full weight of Sirinen and Harrigan then. Penalty though. McGinty not being allowed to get to his feet. Let's go downstairs. Let's hear from Kevin Ellis. Kevin, what are the bench saying at this moment?
Well, they're not happy down here at the moment, Eddie. You know, this ball control, we're spilling on the first and second tackle. There's a bit of dew on the grass, so that might have something to do with it. But, you know, we need to pick our game up and get back into it.
Perhaps they can pick the game up now. Steadman's penalties taken Britain to the 22. Skerritt turns his back.
Well, if ever Britain wanted to produce a move, it's now.
Clark, such a danger man in Melbourne. Australians know it. Dermot the dummy half. McGinty heard the call from Edwards. He heard it from Betts. Betts tries to get Schofield away, but again it went forward. But Britain are so close. They're so close to cracking this defence open.
Well, we called for the move, and this was it. But really, Betts should have held on to it. He knew that Schofield was going to be there, and Schofield is absolutely disgusted. Possession is vital. You must respect it.
It's good play from Great Britain, though, this. They've made 8 handling errors to the Aussies 6.
The sad part about it, Eddie, is that the 2 handling errors there have stopped us from scoring 2 tries.
They do make great advantage, don't they? From the play the ball, the Australians. They're making more yardage than we are at the moment. Here's more from Langer. Hacks it deep downfield. Steadman taking his time, watching it carefully. That's great running from Steadman. That's brilliant running, and also great tackling from Langer. Good rugby league on both sides.
Excellent step, but that was a lovely kick and chase by... Oh, and they've reached it back. And there's a fight.
Powell a bit slow, and there's the fight again. It's Dermot and it's Walters, the 2 hookers. Well, Dennis Hale will take a report from his touch judge. Tempers will have to be cooled. There's so much at stake.
Well, he lost his cool there, did Dermot. He swung the right, he was the first into it. He gets a good shot in later. Not bad for a man who's having problems with his thumb. That would have been painful, both parties.
It's a penalty, Australia. And the last thing that Great Britain want to do is concede penalties in shooting range to Meninga. And a little touch of indiscipline here. Again,
Lack of self-control. One thing that man certainly didn't want. And a vital 2 points on offer to Australia just before the half-time break. There's a worried Malcolm Reilly, and rightly so. He knows that a couple of his players out there are losing their cool.
the key word is discipline. The key message is mental toughness. But as far as Meninga's concerned, this penalty is well within his range, and so far 3 from 3, he's kicking well. The clock saying 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go as Meninga takes aim. He really is taking as long as he's good, no doubt about it. And the aim is through. Australia have a 4-point advantage. Australia 8, the British Lions 4. And just over 2 minutes of this first half to go.
Meninga will be happy with that result. So often in the past, he's been off form with the kicking boot. He's certainly found the magic so far in this game. And the pressure, slowly but surely, is tilting towards the Great Britain side. Every second that goes away from here on in, it's an uphill battle.
So, just less than 2 minutes to go in this first half. This is Hancock, tackle from Powell. Just that moment when they managed to reach the ball back, have to play the ball, they put the pressure on Great Britain. For every tackle, the Australians are looking very, very ruefully at the British boys.
Well, the sad part about it on the British side is that every time they've got into the Australian quarter, they've either lost the possession on the first or second tackle.
Walters tried to run from dummy half. Dennis Betts slowed the progress. Now Harrigan. Lazarus the dummy half this time. Here's Langer having a growing influence on this match. And the ball bouncing kindly for the
Gillespie. Amazing what a rugby league football can do. But as you mentioned, Eddie, Langer, so often a key. Wonderful kicking game. We closed him down in Melbourne. They're allowing him a little bit more latitude tonight.
Now winning and then equaling Graham Langland's record of points in tests. Points in test matches against Great Britain, of course. 3 seconds of this first half remain. There is the half-time siren. It was Stedman's long kick downfield. I rather fancy he might have been looking for the speed of a fire. Instead of that, Willie Kahn has it, and play will continue until the next tackle. That's good play. It's great play from Hancock. He's trying to run through a fire. He won't do. McGinty comes in to add his weight, and that is half-time in this third test, Ashes decider. A match that is hardly easy to predict before the game started is even more difficult to predict now. It's been picked all the way through that have brought us that half-time score. Australia 8, Great Britain 4. And welcome back to Lang Park as Gary Schofield leads the British team out onto the pitch for 40 minutes of destiny. Can they bring the Ashes home? They are so close. Australia 8, Great Britain 4. Just checking round the team, having a look as they come out. I think Malcolm Reilly has sent the original 13 onto the field. So no substitutes at half-time from Great Britain, but surely, Mike Stevenson, as this heat takes its toll, we will see the other 4 come off that bench.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I think Malcolm really has got to take a chance to keep them on as is for the first 15 minutes, try to keep the adrenaline to get into the swing of things. But the Australians, I assume, will throw everything at them in those 10-15 minutes. They'll try to break down the morale. It is important that Britain do not just do well, they've got to go into the patterns. They've got to do the things that they did so well down in Melbourne. The little chip over, the switches of play, the run rounds, they've got to produce those. We need points badly, and we need them quickly.
Well, Kevin Ellis has been earwigging at the dressing room door. What's Malcolm really been saying to the British boys, Kev?
Well, Malcolm's, he's not panicking. He's just, he's saying we've got to make more yards up with the forwards, and we've got to put pressure on Alan Langer. At the moment, he's got all the time in the world just to get his kicks in, and we've got to, you know, tighten up around the ruck area, because they're making too many yards.
Dennis Hale blows the whistle. 40 minutes away then from knowing whether the Ashes come home for the first time in 22 years. Quite a prospect. It was always going to be a tough battle, and so it has been. This is Lazarus. Great Britain chasing well at the start of this second half. Number 14, David Gillespie, is on the field for the Australians. Just checking round quickly. I can't see Paul Sirenen out there. So it's Gillespie for Sirenen. And so Paul Harrigan, who made all the mistakes in the first half, is still out there. 6 more to go for the Aussies here. They're in possession with Laurie Daly. Referee Dennis Hale wipes the tackle count clean. There's Harrigan.
Well, the indication with Bobby Fulton bringing off Sirenen, unless he's injured, it appears that Australia are going to grind their way to a victory rather than run with the ball. Sirenen, a strong runner out wide. Gillespie, he'll carry the ball up all night.
Australia still in possession. Lovely Clyde haul down. This is Walters now. Langer, he's got a lot of space. There's Gillespie driving that ball down the middle. They're on halfway. This is the last tackle. Daly hits the ball over the top of the advancing British players. Just takes a little bounce one way, then the other, runs dead in goal. Great Britain will restart from their own 22. Bobby Fulton in the centre of your picture, passing the information down to touchline with the walkie-talkie.
Interesting also, Eddie, that Laurie Daly, a man noted for his strong runs, has not set off once since the kickoff. All he's been content to do is just be the pivot and use him as a kicker.
Newlove on the break, but the ball drops again. Dennis Betts picked it up, the loose ball. It bounced off an Australian player.
Well, once again, Newlove trying to get the ball there. Maybe it was a little bit slippy. But really, we have not respected this possession. We've got to hold it for the full 6.
They're trying to force the pace at perhaps the wrong moments as Fittler clings on for Australia. Langer is in at dummy half. This is Bradley Clyde. McGinty was in a bit high with the elbow then. Brought size around this ground. This is Gillespie. He's through Clark. He's not through McGinty or Sean Edwards though. That's the Great Britain 22. Walters the dummy half. Langer. Now Daly. Daly looking for the support. It's arrived from Meninga. Look at the power of Meninga. 3 Great Britain players bring him down. Lindner finds Langer. Langer looking to chip. Gives it to Fittler. Fittler helps it to Clyde. Clyde drops it. Powell swoops on it for Great Britain. Both sides trying to force the pace. Ooh, that was a risky play, the ball there. Edwards. Now Steadman. Long pass out to a fire. First bit of daylight for a fire. Steps back in field from Daly. But is clobbered by Lindner and by Willie Kahn. The first time, though, that Martin Offiah had a clear run down that line in the entire match.
But what a risky pass it was. They're still very close to that panic button.
That's a good drive from McGinty. Trying to milk the penalty. Edwards now. Shoulders hunched. Great Britain have missed 16 tackles. Australia have missed only 4. Last tackle again here as Snedman hacks the ball downfield. Ettinghausen isn't safe, is he? He was facing his own post. Got away with that one. Betts misses him. Newlove misses him. The ball fell out to the far side to Kahn. Willie Kahn is eventually hauled down by Schofield, but they made 35 metres then. Schofield hacks the ball at the play the ball into the arms of Ettinghausen. Then pulls the fullback down, leading by example, the British captain.
Schofield made sure to get him down there, E.T. They can't allow this Australian side to start running. The sliding defence has to move up very quickly indeed. They've got to shut them down.
Gillespie running on his own from dummy half. Platt, Edwards and Dermott watching him all the way. That's a better run. It was Harrigan. This is Langer. And that's Bradley Clyde. He's seen a gap. The supporting act has arrived. Bradley Clyde hangs on. Great Britain in disarray in defence. They eventually shut the door. It's the last tackle. Oh, danger signals for Great Britain. Penalty against them for holding Clyde down after the tackle was completed.
It was Eastwood. They'll take the quick tap.
Britain have got to watch themselves here. Lindner sees a gap, goes for it. Dermott brings him down. Schofield working overtime in defence. Meninga on his own from dummy half. Meninga. Great Britain under intense pressure here. Is this the moment for Australia? Walters finds Langer. Langer jinking one way, turning inside. The big man Harrigan. Brought down by McGinty. He's right in front of the post. McGinty's got to get off him. Walters again. Now Langer. Now Daly. Daly chipping through. Bounces off a British leg. The referee doesn't wipe the tackle count clean on that occasion. Fittler. Still Fittler. Looking for support. Daly's there. And Daly touchdown. Yes. Referee gives the try. Laurie Daly. The man who has yet to really show his true colours against Great Britain has perhaps edged Australia closer to those coveted ashes. Britain's defence cracked under the pressure. Daly was there. Daly wasn't going to be stopped.
This is the difference at the moment. Australia are soaking up those 6 play the balls. See the kick here. Then they play the ball. Fittler with step. He takes the gamble. He took it on the half volley, did Daly. An in-footed try. What did not come off twice in the first half for Great Britain came off for the Australians. He bobbled with it. The Great Britain camp claimed that he'd lost it. To no avail, Dennis Hale gave the 4 points. And the hill is getting steeper.
Laurie Daly in his 10th test rather, against all opposition, 10th test, his first match at standoff against Great Britain, has perhaps just nudged the Ashes Australia's way. 12 points to 4, Meninga's conversion to come.
And to be fair to the Australians, it was a wonderful pass by Alan Langer that sent Linder on his way to put them into that position to obtain the 4 points, 4 vital points.
Meninga then, an unblemished kicking record tonight. A study in concentration that. The Australian captain, not so good this time. So it stays at 8 points. Australia 12, Great Britain 4. The little half chances, Mike, are going Australia's way. The odd bounce of the ball, the odd decision.
Lady luck often plays a major part in any sport. And as you mentioned, Eddie, certainly swaying the Australians' way at the moment. Great Britain now, they have to not only grind it out, that catch-up football system, they've got to try things, take the gamble.
But this man Fittler is having a wonderful game in the centre, over the top to Meninga. This is wonderful stuff from Australia. Lindner almost through. Eastwood with the Steadman rather, with the saving tackle. Now Langer again. This fellow's influence is growing.
He's really run the show, Alan Langer. We haven't been able to shut him down like we did in Melbourne.
Drop goal attempt from Daly. No, referee wipes it away. Not on target that time, Laurie Daly. Just wanted to stretch the advantage even further. And he knew, didn't he, that it was so close. So Britain then must work this ball down the other end of the field. McGinty's hit strongly by Daly. A little bit of help from David Gillespie too. Clark is hit. This is good stuff from the Australians. It's great defence. Betts. Britain simply not getting over the advantage line. Paul Hume about to come on. So too Carl Harrison.
And that's not surprising. A few of the players out there, they've lost that spring in their step. They're not running onto the passes.
Schofield hacks the ball downfield. It finds touch just inside the Aussies' half of the field. Schofield now must rally his troops for one big effort. Less than half an hour to go. 12 points to 4. 15 is Hume. He's on. McGinty has had his stint. He goes off. Harrison comes on for Kelvin Skerritt. Untidy at the scrum.
The new injection. Can it be the key that Great Britain are looking for?
Great Britain swarming round the man in possession. Can they keep the Aussies in their own half of the field? Clyde making some ground up towards halfway. Harrigan makes another mistake. Oh, but he's ruled that one's gone backwards. That is unbelievable.
I don't believe that. That should have been the signal for Harrigan to be replaced by the Australian coach, Bobby Fulton.
Well, he got away with it. Referee Dennis Hale making the decision. Can it spur Great Britain on to even greater efforts? Hancock pulled down by Darrell Powell. Ball's laid back. Daly with the kick again. Arrows it towards the corner. Steadman and O'Fire there. O'Fire leaves it for Steadman. Now then, can O'Fire get away from Clyde? No, he can't.
He read that wonderfully then, did the Australian loose forward. He's a tireless worker both in attack and defence.
Here's Harrison. Paul Hume, number 15, Harrison, number 15, straight into the action. It's as if Great Britain last week, Mike, in Melbourne, poked a stick at the hornet's nest, and they've all come out today with stings in their tails.
Well, the Australians certainly are, but I'm afraid the British boys, they're not buzzing tonight. They've lost their way, I'm afraid.
Deadman downfield again for Ettinghausen. Britain plodding up this time. Hume has Ettinghausen. There's Paul Sirenen. Replaced at half-time. The Great Britain supporters start to find their feet. Britain offside at the play the ball. The British supporters finding their voice, trying to rally the lads for one last big effort. And that's a penalty for offside.
You get the impression that the Australian machine is beginning to roll. It may not be pretty. And the man that's kicking the football there, Mal Meninga, knows they've got to play basic football and they can keep this in the bag.
Big penalty count against Great Britain, 7-3. This is Ladros. On my watch, 14 minutes gone. We have just over 26 minutes then left for play as Harrigan breaks through one and takes two more with him, another 5 metres. That's the British 22. This now is Walters. Here's Langer again. Gillespie coming up. But Great Britain close Langer down on this occasion. Fittler, that's a good ball to Daly. Daly dabs the ball forward. Oh, they've let Meninga connect it, and Meninga has the strength to score. Meninga scores the try, and that could be it as far as Great Britain are concerned. The British defence hung back. The kick ahead, Meninga read it absolutely perfectly, and on the day he breaks Reg Gasnier's record for Test match appearances, Meninga comes up with the goods again.
Oh, wonderful kick by Daly. Meninga knew what was happening. Unfortunately, our boys didn't. They just hung back and allowed the big fella to roll on. The steamroller, look at that strength. No doubt about it. The referee in tremendous position. But look at Daly. He's all the time in the world, hasn't he? Meninga knows exactly what's happening. We've got three hanging back in cover. It's not enough.
Mal Meninga, so often the man who breaks the British hearts, and at 16 points to 4 in Australia's favour, has he broken them again? They look dispirited, don't they?
And rightly so, Eddie. Things have not worked out for them at all. They've never, ever had the opportunity to get into the swing of things. Too many mistakes, too many missed tackles. That means that someone else is having to do extra work. And as the game progresses, the toll will tell.
Meninga then tries to convert his own try. Again, he's off the mark. 16-4, the gap's 12 points, but Britain ominously now have got to score 3 times to win this match.
They have to throw caution to the wind, take the gamble. The short kicks, we have yet to see them. They produced 2 wonderful moves in the first half. Unfortunately, both balls were put to ground. It's so important at any level, especially at this high level, that you take your chances. Unfortunately, we failed to do that.
16 points to 4 then. 17 minutes on my watch have gone in this second half. Australia 23 minutes away then, and Mal is magnificent with form like that, isn't he? 23 minutes away then from lifting the Ashes trophy for yet another year. Walters, still going Walters. Carl Harrison all over him. There's the missed tackle count. That's an indictment really on Great Britain tonight. They've missed far too many for Malcolm Reilly's comfort. And the strains of Waltzing Matilda. You can probably hear them in the background. 25,000 Queenslanders are content now to sing their way to the Ashes.
It's something that I've never heard, both overseas, here in Australia. But the home crowd, they not only smell it, they sense the retention of the Ashes.
Well, they've held the Ashes, of course, since 1970, and if they do win tonight, it'll be their 10th series win, and indeed they will equal the best sequence in history by Great Britain, 1921 to 1950. This is the 90s, though. Great Britain showed great character, great spirit, great strength. In Melbourne a week ago, they're 16-4 down, but they've got to start giving that ball a little bit of air, Mike.
They most certainly have, and also trying to get the ball out wide. The link has not been seen tonight. And I'm afraid it's time for Malcolm Reilly to throw on Connolly and Lydon. Extra legs, that bit of extra speed. It's amazing what a converted try will do to their morale. At 16-4, they're still in with a chance, albeit outside.
Britain have that one at the scrum against the head. It was a fairly dejected-looking Malcolm Reilly and Maurice Lindsay, British tour manager, that you saw on your screen a few moments ago, though, wasn't it? Oh, fire from dummy half. He's drifted in field. He's been starved of possession. We've hardly seen anything of him. We've seen plenty of Platt on this tour, and the Aussies caught offside. Now, will Britain run it? I think they have to, don't they? Steadman's over it. And yes, Britain go for territory. Still 20 minutes to go. Still a quarter of this Ashes decider left. A try now would change the complexion completely. Harrison, 10 metres short of the line. Here comes the set move. Britain have switched the direction of play. Schofield heading for the corner. Schofield. Meninga, the man who closed him down. Betts on his own. That's how close Great Britain are. That's the Australian line. Dermot to Platt. Platt trying to use his strength. Out the back to Shaun Edwards. But the referee's whistle has blown. He says that that was a knock-on.
Well, you see on the replay, Platt goes down. Now, I think he tried to flick the ball up. He did. Now, if the referee is going to do anything, it should have been a penalty if he called held. It certainly wasn't a knock-on, and I don't know how he's got to scrum out of this.
Those decisions, Mike. Great Britain have a penalty. Maybe he watched the replay on the giant screen behind the posts here and decided that he was wrong. The penalty, I think, is for leg up on Newlove there.
No doubt about it, Willie Kahn went in with a knee.
Here's Philip Clark. Britain then back in possession. You see that every week, though, in Great Britain, don't you? However, not to worry. Britain in possession. Steadman, he chipped ahead. He was taken out then. Penalty. Australia decided they'd concede 2 and not 4 with that.
Well, that was similar to the one that we didn't get a penalty for early in the first half. It's amazing when the score is at 16-4.
Yes, things start going for you. Steadman is still receiving treatment, and Edwards, the ball reefed away from him. At the play the ball, he misses the tackle on Ettinghausen, but Dennis Betts doesn't. How many times in this series, though, have Great Britain lost possession when they put the ball down for the play the ball, and it's hacked back away from them?
Well, the major thing is that they don't do it that often in Britain. They're quite happy to let the player have all the time in the world. They have to bend forward, keep crouched as much as they can to prevent the kick getting anywhere near the football.
Aussies wasting their time as Newlove goes to the bench. Just looking to see who's come on. It's Gary Connolly, I think. So Gary Connolly is on for Paul Newlove. Another fresh pair of legs. Connolly had an outstanding tour, the youngster. Could he crown it all? Touch judge is on. He's seen something. Wants a discussion with referee Dennis Hale. It's going to be a penalty against Great Britain, I think, by the looks of this. The expression on Paul Hume's face. Well, there it is, the elbow on Willie Kahn.
And I'm afraid the lack of concentration again. I know it's frustrating as the seconds tick away. You mentioned earlier, Eddie, that there was a lot of talk out there, a lot of sledging, as they call it here in Australia. But the major thing is to continue on with your game, not to be put off it. And I'm afraid we've fallen for the sucker punch.
Time is ticking away. 16 minutes and 45 seconds on the huge electric scoreboard here at Lang Park. 16 Australia, 4 Great Britain. It tells its own story. Britain simply are running out of time. Once more, I'm afraid, at the moment, they're running out of ideas. This is Gillespie. This is Langer. Here's Bradley Clyde. He's had a big game tonight, Clyde. So too has Fittler in the centres. Langer's been influential all the way through. Daly and this man, Meninga. What a player he is. That bounces off Dennis Betts. Betts picks it up, but Meninga recovered his ground and bundled Dennis Betts into touch. Meninga not wanted to be remembered as the captain who lost the Aussies. They lost the Ashes.
That was a good tackle there. Perhaps Betts would be better off of kicking the ball downfield. You just saw a fire coming into the picture. They have to start taking chances now. And when you do that, it can get scrappy.
Referee unhappy with the way the Australians were forming the scrum, so he's given the differential penalty Great Britain's way. Steadman must punch this one downfield now.
Well, I'm surprised we haven't seen Lydon appear yet.
Here's Harrison. Harrison has the size and weight to take the Aussies on. Now Philip Clark. I wonder how much confidence Clark has lost with the fact that he's had to take that protective headgear off because of the humidity here in Brisbane. Mind you, the Australians have done their homework, haven't they? They have closed the danger men down. Here's another of them, Dennis Betts. Schofield, chip over the top for Martin Offiah. A good looking over the shoulder by Willie Kahn. Powell is left in his wake. Paul Hume is there. Hume, who's like the kangaroo, he'll never take a backward step. Paul Hume.
Good tackle by Hume there, but we're still missing tackles in the interim because that kick over, Willie Kahn, he read it well. Schofield, he knew he was going to kick deep. Bit of time wasting, I feel, here. But really, Eddie, the difference between the two sides is that Alan Langer and Laurie Daly, especially in the kicking department, Langer has controlled things out there. We've never been allowed to do the same.
Well, Langer was quiet in Melbourne. He's had a field day here. Big effort from the Wigan six, though, again tonight. Ettinghausen pumps the ball downfield. Steadman goes over his shoulder. He's allowed to continue. The referee is consistent with that, but who is following up the considerable frame of Big Mal Meninga?
Well, he certainly came tonight to celebrate. The record is 37th test for Australia.
Offiah hauled to the floor by the collar by Fittler, but then Offiah not being allowed to get to his feet, and there's a bit of a blue on between Hancock and Offiah and Eastwood and Lazarus.
Let's hope both sides don't start thinking of square-ups. There you see Fittler throwing Offiah to the ground. He didn't like it. And the way that Hancock just threw himself over there.
Edwards. The Australians moving up so quickly. That's Powell. This is Connolly. Connolly brought down by Meninga. And Khan finishes him off for good measure while Connolly's on the deck. Hume. Such a combative competitor is Paul Hume. So is Clark. So is Harrison. Good play. Clark again. Unloading the tackle to a fire. Edwards at dummy half. Dermott helps it on to Schofield. He found Powell. Powell gives it to Betts. Great Britain running out of space, aren't they?
They're finding this slide in the Australian defence very hard to break down. I'm surprised that we haven't opted for the little chip over a little bit more. But as you mentioned earlier, Eddie, the fact that we've been missing so many tackles, that taxes the other people. Other people have had to do extra work. We all knew that at Lang Park in the heat, it would take its toll.
Bradley Clyde's running has been so important. Oh, that could have been a moment of glory for Michael Hancock. He fluffed it, though. Clyde had made the break. Here it is again.
Well, Clyde, you can see the British defence in tatters. There was 5 men coming across to take Clyde. Lack of coordination and understanding there. Hancock had a clear run to the post if he had taken that ball.
Edwards feeds and gets possession. Schofield now. Here's Darrell Powell. Trying to break through. Daly had him round the ankles, though. Edwards. And now Steadman. Steadman to Dennis Betts. Betts to Eastwood. It was just a little bit too far in front of Eastwood.
Well, that's the frustration, the panic, the catch-up football that you have to do. Wasn't the best pass. And I'm afraid the effort from the British boys tonight, the skill has gone, I'm afraid. They just were not allowed to get into this match. Whereas we mentioned earlier, Langer, he's controlled it.
And they've surrendered possession again to Australia on the first tackle in the set of 6.
You cannot afford to do that against the juggernauts called Australia.
Walters, Langer. Rid of the ball quickly. Harrigan's made another fist of it. Britain have it back with Edwards. Long raking pass out to the far side to a fire. It went forward. Well, they got away with it last week in Melbourne. They didn't get away with it tonight. Dennis Hale right in line.
Edwards looking tired. That's a tired pass. Didn't have the strength to go through. And more frustration appears on the faces of the British boys.
Quick comment coming in now from Kevin Ellis on sideline.
That's right, Eddie. You know, we're looking very tired at the moment. We're playing panic rugby. You know, we know we've got to get a quick try if we're going to have a chance. But, you know, the boys are looking knackered, tell the truth.
They're out on their feet. There's no doubt of that. Langer and Bradley Clyde. Oh, he's run so strongly tonight. Now here's Fittler. He's had a great game too. Here he goes again, Fittler. Still going strongly. That's been the difference. The Australians have been crashing through the tackles. Langer taken out by Edwards. Referee hits the deck as well. Eastwood just gets a fingertip to it. Knocks the ball dead. Daly was on for what he thought was another try.
Well, there we see Langer having all the time in the world. That has been the scenario tonight. That little fella in your screen. We shut him down in Melbourne. He was ineffective. If you give him plenty of room, he'll just cut you to ribbons.
Khan then for this Australian team. He loses his footing. The ball goes back. Play on, says the referee. Daly breathing all round Graham Steadman's neck, wasn't he, when he just managed to keep his composure, Steadman, and knocked that ball dead a few moments ago.
Well, I'm still surprised that we have not seen Lydon. He showed in the first test when he came on. He has the skills to break down this very strong Australian defence.
There's men out wide here for Australia as Daly takes it on. Meninga coming forward. Betts stood his ground and had to. Now it's with Lindner. Lindner's seen a gap. Lindner's heading for the post. Great tackling. That was Steadman again. Hancock. Australia played the ball quickly. Langer. Still Langer. He's hauled down a metre short. Penalty, Australia, for the high tackle on Langer. Another fight.
And it looks like Schofield was throwing a few little punches there. We mentioned the fact that Lang's controlled things here. The little fellow, he threw the dummy. No, it was Clark, I think.
Well, the referee just wants to calm things down, and Gary Schofield is being helped from the field. He's limping off behind the play as you watch Alan Langer. The Great Britain captain is leaving the field.
Oh, that could be a sad blow. Let's hope it's not too badly. Remember, the tourists have to go to New Zealand for 2 vital games over there.
And he's having to be helped off the field. Ettinghausen's taken a breather too. And Joe Lydon is on now for Great Britain. There he is in 16. Meninga again for Australia. O'Fire is tackled without the ball then by Bradley Clyde. Connolly has it for the British, but the referee has hauled it all back for the knock-on. And Schofield, there he is, taking his place on the bench. Is it the knee? Is it the ankle? Well, it wasn't the food poisoning that forced him off the field. It was a clear injury. And the Australians now coming forward, rolling, ever closer, that British line once more. Clyde.
He's had a big game. The Canberra lock forward, Bradley Clyde. They don't class him as one of the best forwards in the world for nothing.
Gillespie's on as well. They've got Cartwright rather is on as well. They've got fresh legs to bring on for the closing 5 minutes here. Meninga, ball knocked out of his hand now. O'Fire got a foot to that, and O'Fire, if he picks up here, will score. O'Fire will go in under the post. Perhaps the Ashes is not over yet. O'Fire touches down, safe and sound. He hacks it forward. He wraps 3/4 a length of the field, and Martin O'Fire, who scored in his last 3 internationals against the Australians, makes it 4.
Well, it was a good tackle by Dermott that onto Meninga. The ball came loose. He kept his cool, didn't he? Martin O'Fire races away. While the replay's on, we've only got 4 minutes and 14 seconds remaining going down. Can we pull back something spectacular here?
O'Fire then with the try. It's 16-8. Eastwood with this conversion from right in front. I don't think he'll be taking his time this time. 3 minutes 50 on the electronic scoreboard. That's all that remains. Eastwood a bit quicker this time. Blacks go up. It's 16-10. Great Britain need a score, and they need a score quickly. Let's go downstairs. Kevin Ellis has news of Gary Schofield.
That's right, Eddie. Gary just limped off now. He's had a bad bang on his medial ligament. He's just got a nice pack on it now at the moment. But the message come from the camp. I think we've just got to throw this ball about now and just hope now.
Just hope. That's all they can do. Throw caution for the wind. There's 3 minutes left for play. 6 points in it. Australia 16, Great Britain 10. Of course, a draw would mean that the Ashes stay here in Australia.
That's right. They would have to score a converted try and then score again to wrest those Ashes away from Australia. But it's all about pride now.
There's Gary Schofield watching on as Phil Clark again drives up. 6 points the difference, that's all. There's one of those long raking passes as Britain throw caution to the wind. Lydon has it. Steadman's the dummy half. Another long pass. And Edwards hoists the midfield bomb. He's hoping for a mistake on that far side. Daly's in touch.
That was a mistake there, Daly. He should have left that. He picks it up, Daly here. The momentum through. Connolly takes him over. Can we just pull out 6 points? We may not be able to rest those Ashes, but at least we can rest some pride.
Here's Connolly. Taken by Kevin Walters, who's on. 16 points to 10. Less than 2 minutes to go. Steadman chips over the top. Langer picks up the pieces. We said it would be close. 6 points is all that's between the two sides. And Great Britain, I know, will rue the chances they put down. They'll rue the missed tackles if, as looks likely now, they lose this test match.
Never any doubt about that. They know that this is a test match that they lost. They have virtually given Australia the opportunities. They shut them down in that second test. They failed to do it this time. You cannot afford to make so many mistakes, miss so many tackles.
Lang Park, a scene of so many British hoodoos, a scene of so many British hammerings by the Australians. Not so tonight, as Kevin Walters chases his own kick ahead. Steadman's lost it briefly. Oh dear. Steadman just has to hack it dead, and we've now less than a minute to go. And I think that this series now is all over.
The back to the ball, to be fair, has not run our way. But Steadman under panic, under pressure.
Powell gets it back from the dropout. Half a minute to go. Can Great Britain snatch the draw? Powell away from Clive, but not away from Kevin Walters.
Australia realise that the kicking chase for a fight is the only thing there. They've got 3 back. They've got Langer and the 2 wingers and the fullback.
Listen, the Queensland crowd count it down. The Ashes are Australia's. It's all over. Australia have come back off the canvas to keep the Ashes here in Australia. Lazarus, Walters and Harrigan, they all celebrate. They know they've been in a test match though. They know Great Britain was so close. 16-10 the winning margin. In the end, just a try and a goal in it. But Mal Meninga, he's the man who broke the British hearts with his try, and O'Fire just briefly gave us the glimmer of hope for a draw with his.
So Australia hold on to the Ashes again. Let's look at the final scoreboard just to rub salt into all our wounds. Australia 16, Great Britain 10 the score. 2 tries in the second half from Australia, 1 try in the second half from Great Britain. Mike, what do you make of it all?
Oh, we seemed to lose direction, didn't we, in the second half. Australia just kept grinding us down, and you know, they did a professional job on us, and at the end of the day, I suppose, you know, Australia deserve the victory.
Well, let's return to Australia and speak to one of Great Britain's heroes again today, though, Andy Platt.
Well, you've got to give credit, you know, to Australia after, you know, a good beating last week. They came back and dominated the game, really, and we've no complaints in the final game.
With that last try to Martin, 4 minutes to go, I suppose the hopes were still there.
Yeah, we're clinging on there and staying in there, but Australia played, you know, the percentage football, kicks into the corners and forced into mistakes, good defence, and really, you know, we were just hanging in on there. Well, anything can happen in rugby league, you know. Martin went there, and then the last couple of minutes, we could have might just have snatched it, but it wasn't to be.
Well, Andy, one thing for sure, you've made plenty of friends over here in Australia with your fine performances, and well, it's on again in 2 years.
Yeah, I think it's brought life back into the Test series that died a few years ago. And I think it shows that, you know, Great Britain can compete, and as you say, in 2 years' time, you know, back in England, or maybe in October in England, you know, there'll be one hell of a game waiting for the Australians, and I can't wait.
Andy Platt in Australia. Well, let's look at the tries that really decided the game today. Mike, what did you make of the Australian crucial incidents? Because Laurie Daly here, tremendous finish.
Yeah, Fittler made the break and just passed it inside. If you notice, Phil Clark had a word with the referee. He seemed as though he was in the process of fumbling the ball. And we can't really see from this angle whether he did ground it or not. But
So, Laurie Daly, the scorer there. Laurie Daly, the creator for the next one.
yeah, set move. You know, he saw Mal coming up, 16.5 stone running at full pelt. You know, it's hard to stop from that distance.
Yeah, tremendous pickup, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
he picked it up for a big man, and as I say, his strength told him just put the ball down with one hand.
Meninga did have a big game today, didn't he?
He played well. I think it was important that he did have a big game. You know, we controlled him in the second test, and this time, you know, he was just let loose.
Well, that was Australia captain's fate. Great Britain's captain's fate was not as cheerful. This injury here.
Yeah, it appears that Scully stretched out in the tackle and may have damaged the medial ligament on the knee. As you can see, when he goes back, he winces and he's in some pain, so hopefully it's not too serious, but we'll know better later on.
Let's end on a high note, which of course is the Great Britain try. Great hit by Martin Dermott.
Yeah, Derm's the one who created the try. He hit Mal Meninga with a big hit, and not many people can do that. And Martin does what he does best, you know, he's always there following the ball. And the bounce of the ball went quite favourably to him. And, I mean, from there, no one's going to catch Martin.
It shows that, well, unfortunately, that Martin wasn't given a chance through the whole game.
Yeah, I think in the second test, you know, the bounce of the ball went for us, but in the third test, it seemed to go against us at times, and we just lost direction. And it was unfortunate, but the boys can hold their heads up high. You know, they played an outstanding test series and an outstanding tour so far.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for coming in and joining us again. Well, we've got more Great Britain action coming up because, of course, they go on from Australia to a 2-test series against New Zealand. Those games coming up next week. The first one on the 12th of July, 3 a.m. in the morning. It happens live. We'll show it again later in the day. Then the second test the week after. So 2-test series against New Zealand to look forward to, and plenty more to look forward to as well on Sky Sports. This is our